Hello and welcome friend. In this lecture, we will try to write a small program using the utility called as whois and try to find the details of a particular domain. So what I mean by that the detail of a particular domain is, let's suppose the domain is google.com. Now if you do whois google.com, it will tell you the details of the domain, that the domain is registered by which company, the domain is registered through which domain provider like GoDaddy, IONS, those kind of things, possibly the address of the company, and so many other details like creation date and those kind of things. So the intent of this tutorial is to write a program, Python program, in which we will use the whois module from the Python, which is called as Python whois, and fetch the details of those domains. Now we will also include exception handling in this because the list of domains might have an error or the domain might not be existing in whois database. Whois, it's like this. So we have to handle exceptions in this particular case. So for program you will be using like this, and once you install this you can use the whois module. Now you might want to do a Google search if you want to do this entire thing on your own, but I would like you to pause and think how you can achieve the same. As a simple output you can do something like import whois, and then you will say whois and then provide by domain name. This domain name would be like google.com, something like that. Now this information would be fetched in res, and you can print res and get different details. So for print res you can get the details like creation date, exceptions date, those kind of things. So you'll have to do that. And also from the command line utility, if you want to check on the Mac, you can do brew install whois. For Fedora you can do sudo yum install jwhois or whois, just yum install whois. For Ubuntu you will say apt-get install whois. And if you have a Windows and you have a Windows WSL, Windows subsystem for Linux, you can do the same command as Ubuntu. Now let's a quick demo of the command itself. So the command is whois. I already have it installed, so I don't need to install, but in your case you will have to install one of the other ways. Like if it is Mac, you say brew installed whois and you can get this utility. So I'll say whois and I'll give some domain name. The domain name would be something like google.com. It will give me the details about the domain google.com, and if I start from the beginning, start looking into this, it will give me some information about the whois database. Whois basically is a consortium kind of thing which maintains the database of all the registries across the world. So it might not have all the database, but it will have a link to other database. Like let's suppose the whois registry is in US, GoDaddy, and it wants to refer to some of the registry in India. It can in turn query from the registry in India. So it will say domain name Google, domain ID registrations, and then you will say creation date and updated date. Now if you see the updated date, this is the date when the domain was last updated. Creation, when was the first time the domain was created, and this domain is expiring in 2028. Now let's suppose after 2028, if Google does not renew this, you can renew. But that's not possible. The reason is, of course, Google will keep on renewing this domain name for future purpose. So that's what we are going to do that. So we are trying to fetch basically two fields in this. One is the creation date and one is the expiry date. So if you go ahead and do whois.whois, and you will see creation date and expiry date. Simple. If I want, I will just give a short demo also. If you have a Python here, you will say import whois, and then you say whois.whois, and then give the domain name in double quotes google.com, and you will say the result. Now result you will fetch like this. You can fetch many fields, but we will fetch creation date, and creation date is like this, and we will also fetch expiration date. So now you can extend this to fetch from multiple domain, not just Google but a list of domain. You can fetch other fields, and if there is an error in fetching, it can handle. So that error you will handle with try and accept block. So pause the video here and try to do it on your own, and in the next video I'll post the solution. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next video.